The New England Patriots are set for a Week 11 showdown with the New York Jets this Sunday at Gillette Stadium. But have they done enough in the first half of the season to show the promise they'll need in the second half to get to the playoffs? We discuss that and more today with Tanya Ray Fox of FS1. Stick around. We're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button and download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts. Folks, today's episode of Locked On Patriots is sponsored by SimpliSafe Home Security with Fast Protect technology exclusively from SimpliSafe. 24/7 monitoring agents capture evidence to accurately verify a threat for faster police response. There is no safe like SimpliSafe, so visit simplisafe.com/LockedOnNFL to learn more. Pats fans, thank you once again for joining us here on this pre-game Week 11 episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast. I'm your host, Mike DeBate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated, so please feel free to reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind for as long as it still exists on the Twitterverse at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to that Twitterverse, regardless of what you think right now, we'd appreciate your support at LO_Patriots. And of course, to help me break it all down today, is truly one of our favorites here on the pod, someone that is the best at providing that type of spot-on insight with razor-sharp wit. You know her great work from platforms such as USA Today, NFL Network, NBC Sports Boston, currently providing amazing work for FS1, and her podcast, Almost Shameless, sincerely, highly recommended by yours truly. I've had the pleasure of being a guest on it a few times. You're going to love the listen. By all means, if you're not subscribed already, do it today. The incomparable Tanya Ray Fox is back here on Locked On Patriots. Thank you for joining me today, my friend.
Thank you for having us. I have my coffee. I'm ready to go. We have yet another mic situation hopefully figured out. I really hope the audio is decent for the listener, wit, as you like to call it, clear and crisp on this Friday fall afternoon. We're like very, very close to Thanksgiving at this point. It's time from work. Like we got to get it together. I'm ready to break this down with you. It's been a few weeks since, I think it's been like since earlier in the season, just to start the season since we've talked. So like we have.
Yeah, we certainly do have a lot to talk about. There's no question about that, Tanya. Look, bottom line, the New England Patriots right now, 5-4, holding on to that seventh playoff spot. And a lot of people did not expect them to be here without any question about it, especially after a 1-3 start. Mac Jones goes down with a high ankle sprain. Bailey Zappi comes in, and all of a sudden this team starts to show signs of life. They're playing a little bit looser. They're getting a little bit more accomplished on the offensive side of the ball. The defense looked like they fixed some of their problems, and they've been very good in the last few games. So when you look at the New England Patriots right now as a whole, they look like they're making a march toward playoff contention. Now, Tanya, you and I both know the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, even the New York Jets right now in this division playing very good football, all of them ahead of the New England Patriots. It still feels weird to even say that, but it's the truth. It's where we are. So in that regard, when you look at this team right now, how has their first half performance impacted you? Or I should say, what type of impression has it left on you? Are they where you expected them to be? Are they exceeding expectations? Or are they falling short of where you hoped they would be?
Yeah, I think if you had, like they were going to kind of hover around the third place in the division spot. And I think that that's fair. I'm assuming that a lot of people had them somewhere in second to third. Fact of the matter is, there is not an analyst on this planet that saw the AFC East as the best division in football, and that's what they are right now. They are the best division, top to bottom, in football. No, with a team that's not below 500, and that is incredibly difficult to compete in when you're the team that has the most to prove in terms of improvement on the offensive side of the ball, which is, of course, the more important side of the ball these days. They are kind of where I expected them to be record-wise, right? Just, they're above 500. They're keeping their heads above water. They're staying in playoff contention. That's what you would expect from that's last year with a rookie quarterback, but isn't the strongest team in their division. Okay, great. The question is, how they're doing it, because offensively they've regressed. This is a team that's relying extremely heavily on the run game more than we anticipated, and they have an elite defense. So that I don't know that that's what I heard, and that's what's interesting. And they have also, the way that they scheduled this season is really tough, because they've only had 2 division games in the first half of the season, where in the back half of this have yet to be played. And so where they truly stand against that competition, especially late season competition, which means the teams are more fully. I am not by any means concerned by the fact that they are 4th in the division, because of the fact that this is the best division in football, and so it is, it's panic mode. Everybody's within a game or 2 of each other. There's a lot that can still switch. It's just a matter of how they get the leap playoff spot with so much going on in the AFC across the board.
Yeah, without any question. I think you're right on the money when it comes to their positioning as 4th. A lot of people are saying, well, they're looking up at 3 great teams or 3 very good teams that have the ability to make the playoffs. And a lot of people feel that this division will field at least 3 playoff teams. I don't think it's going to field 4. Right now, if the playoffs started today, it would. But these teams have a lot of head-to-head matchups left. Somebody's going to get knocked off the podium. There's no question about it. And it's really going to be who plays the best football down the stretch. And Bill Belichick has often said football starts in November after Thanksgiving. We're right around that time. So the New England Patriots need to come out this Sunday strong. They need to look good on both sides of the ball, and they need to be very much on the same page. And we haven't seen too much of that from the Patriots, especially on the offensive side of the board. And I got a feeling we're going to get into that in just a moment. But at the same time, I also want to acknowledge the fact that I think you are right. Their positioning as 4th is not something that is catastrophic right now, because New England does have head-to-head matchups, 2 against the Bills. They have the one against the Jets this Sunday, and then of course they have the season closer, the regular season closer against the Miami Dolphins up here at Gillette. So going to be an interesting end of the season with the New England Patriots. Minnesota Vikings on the schedule, the Arizona Cardinals on the schedule. They've got some tough games and some tough teams to play coming up, and we're going to really see what this team is made of. Tanya, we always love talking football with you, and we talk about the first half of the season as now being in the past. But what are you looking forward to in the second half of the season? Folks, we're going to get into that in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues with my guest and good friend Tanya Ray Fox of FS1. But first, Tanya, it's that time of year. It's holiday season. The shopping season's beginning. I don't want to speak for you, but I'll speak for myself. I absolutely hate getting stuck in Black Friday crowds. It is really one of Dante's 9 levels of hell when it comes to me. Just not uncomfortable. It's just very uncomfortable. But shopping our good friends at Tommy John's Black Friday sale from your couch, well, that's the kind of comfort that I'm looking for. That is super duper comfortable, and so are the items you can buy from our good friends at Tommy John's. When you give your loved ones Tommy John, they are that much more comfortable, so they can do everything better. Shop Tommy John's Black Friday sale right now and give the gift of comfort to everyone on your list, including yourself. They have brand new Tommy John underwear, loungewear, and pajamas. And with over 18 million pairs sold, giving Tommy John has become a holiday tradition. 97% of women and men love getting a gift from Tommy John. That's why Tommy John doesn't have customers, they have fanatics. Every gift is backed by Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear or its free guarantee. So shop Tommy John's Black Friday sale going on right now and get 30% off site-wide at TommyJohn.com/locked on. That's 30% off everything now at TommyJohn.com/locked on. TommyJohn.com/locked on. See site for details. Patriots fans, the incomparable Tanya Ray Fox joins me here today on Locked On Patriots, closing out the weekend style. Fox on Friday. It's been way too long since we've shared the microphone, my friend, and already you're bringing the wisdom and counsel that we know and love here on Locked On Patriots. But we all know that the Patriots have a tough second half of the season coming up. We alluded to it earlier. A lot of tough games on the schedule. It's an unforgiving weather time of year. Our good friends in Buffalo right now can tell you that. In excess of 3 feet of snow in the forecast for the weekend, causing all kinds of problems up there. We're no stranger to the elements here in New England either. And you just get the feel that this type of second half of the season, tough schedule, tough weather conditions, is exactly how Bill Belichick likes it. But to his team, or does his team, proper English there, it's important, folks, but does his team have the mettle that previous Patriots teams have had in the past to fight through adversity and make a run to the playoffs? Tanya, as you look at this team as it's currently constituted, what are your expectations for the Patriots in the second half? What are you looking for from them?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of wishful thinking that goes on. You can see from this Patriots offense in the back half of the season, and I get why, because Patriots fans watched this team go on an incredible run last season with Mac you had everybody, kind of starting to say, here we go again. Belichick's got this team on a roll, taking advantage of a weak stretch in the schedule, blah, blah, blah. They don't have that back half of the schedule. This is a tough back half. Like I said, everybody in their division is good. So all the division games are hard, every single one of them. And then they've got the Vikings, not a team that you can ever know who they are week to week. Incredibly difficult to game plan for the Bengals. I do actually think that they're a good matchup for the Patriots defense, like handle the Bengals. But, between the Vikings, the Bills, the Dolphins, and this second game against the Jets, the Jets absolutely are not they are really tough stretch. Here's what I think, I want to see from the Patriots in terms of adjustment offensively. That Mac is struggling and he has regressed, and there are issues. Whether or not that is because of Matt Patricia's play calling and the scheme, it's tired of having, not because I don't think it's important or because it's true, but because we are at the point now where what the run game's ceiling is. And across the league, we've actually seen the run game have a renaissance. We were at the point where people were starting to say, who cares about running the ball? Honestly, you've got Mahomes and Herbert and Burrows and all these guys who can just sling it in the run. You've got Lamar and Jalen and Josh Allen, and you've got all these guys who can run. It's like running backs were becoming irrelevant, and that has really shifted. As per usual, everything old is new again. This does happen. There are always forward. You're moving along a spectrum because everybody's constantly adjusting. And vital and important as it has ever been. It was always vital and important for Brady, and we're seeing that in Tampa Bay for Brady right now. Right now, Brady's
absolutely
the offense is starting to thrive because they're figuring out Holland and that is what they're going to have to do on steroids for the back half of this season. And I say that to preface the fact that it cannot all be on Rhamondre Stevenson. Part of that run game is really important. I'm seeing all kinds of analysis talking about like Damon Harris is in the past, Rhamondre is the future. He's the guy who's got to get all the carries. He's the guy. Not how they're going to win games by leaning on one running back with a very low efficiency pass game right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, especially with David Andrews coming back, especially with Damian Harris coming back, is more schemes that involve pass catchers starting to diversify what they do with those run game schemes and in the play calling and everything else. Because I think if Mac can feel a little bit of that pressure, ways that they can open up and keep it, honestly, be more consistent in the red zone and keep their defense off the field long enough that they can come in and do their job as the shield that they figure out that end of things before anybody start talking about Mac becoming a better passer in colder, crappier weather on the back half of the season. But Mac is a smart and he's a smart player, and he knows what he needs to do to try to win a game. And I think that any level of consistency, especially as the offensive line starts to gel and get a little bit stronger, will then empower him to be able to go to his trusted weapons a little bit more, pushing it downfield to Devontae and Parker and doing a little bit more of what we have seen succeed from him this season when he has.
Yeah, very, very good points. Excellent points, especially when it comes to the weather. And look, I'm as guilty as anyone of buying into the hype when it comes to the weather because it makes a nice narrative. You get to use words like ominous and massive amounts of snow, and it makes it seem like, you're writing some sort of like, horror novel or whatever to tell the story about how these guys have to go through and play through the elements. Mac Jones is no stranger to cold weather. I even wrote about this last year for Sports Illustrated that he has played in games, has done okay. Last year, I know in Buffalo, people are going to point to those two games as being his Achilles heel, but I don't think the weather is going to be a factor with Mac. I don't think it has been, and I don't think it will be. What I'm looking for from the New England Patriots in terms of improvements in the second half of the season is simply one word: communication. Because I don't think the communication has been solid between Mac and between his coaches, between the wide receivers. I'm not blaming any of these units individually for this. I think it's a collective effort. Maybe a little less blame on the receivers because I think this is a little bit more on Mac and the coaching staff. I see a lot of Patriots fans lament Mac being dialed up for some of these vertical routes that Matt Patricia and company are dialing up for him. And a lot of it is because Mac is really developing a tendency to fixate on his initial read. He's not seeing the entire field, or at least it doesn't look like he's seeing the entire field. And because of that, the incompletions are because he's forcing the ball to a target that he's staring down, and obviously opposing defenses and secondaries, they're going to lock in on that. They're going to realize that, and it's going to give the impression that there is a lot of problem there. A lot of it has to do with struggles on the offensive line, Tanya. We've seen this offensive line regress. There is a revolving door at the right tackle position right now between Isaiah Wynn, Marcus Cannon, who's on IR, Yadnik Adjusts coming in. These guys are really struggling to maintain continuity. Cole Strange is starting to, I don't want to say hit the rookie wall, but he's starting to struggle a little bit. Maybe David Andrews coming back will help him out a little bit. And Trent Brown right now didn't practice a whole lot at left tackle this week. He was held out of some of those drills. Isaiah Wynn getting some of those snaps. So this is a line right now in flux. You have to think that over the course of this break, the bye week that the Patriots just had, that they're looking to fill some of these gaps when it comes to communications. And ESPN's Dan Orlovsky really, I think, did a very good job of breaking down just what these types of communication problems can lead to. Folks, if you haven't checked this out, definitely do that. brought a lot of his findings to even former NFL wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson, and the two of them had a pretty good back and forth. And essentially, you see in a lot of these plays where Mac is going to the two-step drop back and then the third step to try to make the play. He was going 1, 2, 3, hitch. That's the, excuse me, a three-step back, back into the pocket, and then two quick steps forward. A lot of times when Mac is readying and picking up his head to throw the football, you're not seeing guys turn their heads around. You're not seeing the receivers turn around and get ready for the pass. That usually indicates that there's poor communication, and maybe that's on the coaching staff. Dan seems to be convinced that it's more on the coaching staff than anything, the offensive coaching staff. And Keyshawn chimed in that he didn't feel that it was a receiver problem unless Mac is just completely going off book and doing the opposite of what his coaches are telling him to do. But that's something that you should do in the in the bye week off season. Yeah, something you should do in the off season too, folks. But you should do it into the bye week. You want to focus on why the targets were out of sync. Is Mac dropping back too fast? Were the receivers running routes that are too deep? These are the things that are fixable. So hopefully the Patriots Brain Trust has done that and fixed some of these problems, and that can get into what you're looking at, which is maybe a relief of the running game a little bit. If the passing game can shoulder some of the load, it's going to be a little bit less on Rhamondre Stevenson's shoulders because Damian Harris has battled injuries all year long. He's still a solid complement to Rhamondre up front. No question about it. But now that Ty Montgomery is going to be out for the season, you're not going to have that guy that can win those battles at the top of the route the way Ty could have on third down and receiving out of the backfield. So interesting times for the New England Patriots, Tanya. That's what I'm looking for. That's what Tanya's looking for as well, folks. But what are you looking for from the Patriots in the second half of the season? Drop a comment in the notes section below. We'd love to hear from you in terms of what you feel you'd like to see the Patriots do. But my friend, it all comes down to whether or not the Patriots can get a win this weekend. I very seldom label games must win. I'm not going to quite go out on the win this time, but I think it's as close to it as you can possibly get. Tanya's going to tell us her thoughts on the game and what to expect from the New England Patriots in this matchup with the New York Jets coming up on Sunday when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up. But first, let me tell you a little bit about our friends over at BetOnline.net, your number one source for football betting and the start of the new basketball season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. And always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all of your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. They're the fastest and the easiest way to check in on all of your favorite games and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in the action. Bet online, where the game starts. Pats fans, it is always a blast when Tanya Ray Fox drops by the studios to join me and close the week in style here on Fox on Fridays with Locked On Patriots. And Tanya, the New England Patriots face a very pivotal game this weekend with the Jets. 1 p.m. kickoff, Sunday, November 20th. New York Jets coming in. Gillette Stadium is the venue. First meeting between these two teams, a win for the New England Patriots, 22-17. But you and I both know that divisional matchups are never guaranteed. No matter how the record of either team stacks up, they're always close. They're always, or usually close, I should say. But they're always hard-fought victories or defeats, depending on what side of the coin you end up on. These two teams, I think, are very evenly matched. You saw that in the first matchup. You see that in the second matchup. The predictions from our good friends over at betonline.ag bear that out. Patriots favored by 3 in this one with an over-under of 38. Tanya, when you look at this game for the New England Patriots, how do you see this shaking out? And as an added sprinkle on top to this one, do you feel that this is a must-win for New England?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the second question first, just to intro here. I don't think it's a must-win game in terms of their record. It's not great, but I think it's disingenuous to fully call it a must-win because there is still a lot of football left to play. But I do think it's a matchup that they have I know it's hard to beat a team twice in the division in a year. We're not in the we're not in the dynasty days anymore. However, what the Patriots are actually excellent at across the league are things that should bother Zach Wilson enough that he cannot keep up with whatever the Patriots corners in the league. I mean, Jack Jones and Jonathan Jones are two of the best coverage corners in the league. They have ball hawk safeties, McCourty and 32 sacks on the season. They're second in sacks in the league. I mean, this is crazy. They're tied with the Bucs. They can pick the ball off. They're good coverage corner. This is Zach Wilson. Like, what are we doing here? There is no excuse to not pray. I know that it is so hard to put ultimatums on a team in these situations. You know this, Mike. I am the first person to say anything can happen. Look at what's happening to the Bills. Look at, that I completely agree with that. But from a Patriots perspective, where they have teams that can really run the ball on you, and their run defense, the interior defense has been really tough without Christian Barmore. We'll see how that plays out if and when Barmore comes back. A real bad matchup. Like I don't love the Bills matchup, even if they are injured on defense, because we're not the Patriots are not a particularly offensively threatening team, right? Offense matchups, again, because of the scheming and the play calling, and Tua's newfound ability to elude pressure, and all of these. There's a lot. Okay, even what the Patriots do well, this team can counter. I do not think the Jets offense can counter what the Patriots defense does at a nearly elite level this season. Is a no excuses, you got to win. Not because of the record, not because if they lose, they can't climb their way out of it. I mean, hypothetically, of course they could, but because matchup-wise, your defense over their offense, and your offense can it's a defense against which your offense can hang, which they proved a couple of weeks ago. Then where are you on the season, especially at home? And that's where I land on the matchup. You've got the allowing like 18.4 points per game, something like that. You can easily keep the Jets to that. You can do that. You did it before. You can do it again. I know that Robert Saleh is not going to come in to think that. But I also know Bill Belichick's not going to expect him to come in with no adjustments.
Right.
And these are really important, go to Minnesota and win a game against the Vikings. If they do, great. If they do, great. I don't even expect them to necessarily go to Arizona. I mean, again, they don't quite have the same, they don't have a great run offense. They've got Kyler, right? So it's like if Kyler's healthy and he's running around, we know the Patriots struggle with those types of quarterbacks. Like we know they struggle. Okay, fine. But this Jets team, just because they're good doesn't mean, and just because they may be better than you on the record book, doesn't mean you do well. We don't have to go into crazy stats and crazy analytics to understand basic matchups. I know that a lot of the NFL heads can get breaking down specific matchups, and this guy's he's allowing this much cut over EPA, expected EPA. I just want you to know this is and that's why the Patriots should win this game.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, there's no question about it. I know New England Patriots fans are hoping that as well. I too predicted a New England Patriots victory earlier this week on the crossover episode with John Butchko of Locked On Jets. I think the Patriots take this one 20-17. I just see this playing out very similar to the first game. These two teams are evenly matched and they know each other so well. So I think that's really going to preclude an offensive explosion. Now, that being said, I mean, both of these teams are capable of doing that if the defenses start to falter. So that matchup, in my opinion, favors the New England Patriots because of the way their defense is played on all three levels. But that Jets defensive front has a chance to be very stifling as well. And they get a pretty good secondary. But for a Mac Jones interception, that game could have gone either way the last time. And that might have been in the direction of going in the Jets' favor if that interception to defensive back Michael Carter held up. So I think this is going to be a fun one, but I agree with you. I don't think that this is a must win, but it's getting close in the season where you have to pile up divisional victories, and especially with the Patriots having one more with the Dolphins and two with the Bills, it'd be nice to get a double up on the New York Jets and be able to hold that tiebreaker effectively and completely, knowing that you have owned both matchups that the Jets had with the Patriots this season. Tanya, it's always an honor, always a privilege, and I thank you so much for joining me from across the country today. I know we had a few mic hookups earlier in the series, but you pulled through it like the trooper that you are, and I do appreciate that. Before I let you go, my friend, please let everyone know where they can find you, interact with you, and what we can look forward to in the coming days and weeks heading into the holidays from the great pen and the great voice of Tanya Ray Fox.
Yes, I'm at Tanya Ray Fox on Twitter, and so encouraging people to go more and follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Also, super easy to find on TikTok at Tanya Ray Fox there as well. I do not know if the platform somehow goes offline or whatever else. If there's any issues, I haven't ever lived in a world where I'm covering sports and not on Twitter. So Panic Media, I think, is this is specifically affecting people in media in a really big way. There's a lot of entertainment industries who are involved. None more than media. That's just whether it's politics or whether it's sports or whatever else. So I really encourage you guys to, if you follow me at all, ramping up more of what I do on Twitter, on Instagram and TikTok, being kind of funny and silly about certain stuff, making memes, all that stuff, but also engaging in the topic, develop a rhythm in that way too. Especially on TikTok, the comment interaction on TikTok is very similar. You can kind of do similar things to Twitter. It's not the same, but same way, or it's in a similar way. So go there. I'll be doing that and talking about the games and all of that. And I'm going to be, doing for the podcast. Keep an eye out for my normal content. I do usually do a full thread break of where we're at, and I do break down other NFL games as well because I'm watching everything all at once for work anyway. So we get into it. We have fun. Completely, my favorite day is to tweet is on Sunday and to tweet about football. No matter what team you're a fan of, I promise you, I know what's going on in your game. So please, if you're not just a Patriots fan, come over and that's it. That's it for me.
Absolutely. And folks, like I said to open the show today, razor sharp wit with spot on analysis. You can't beat it. And that's why we always love having you on here, Tanya. And we like to continue to have you class up the joint a little on Fridays by lending your wisdom and counsel on Fox on Friday. It's been too long. It won't be that long for the next layoff, my friend. I guarantee it. But thank you for joining me here today. And folks, thank you all for joining us here on Locked On Patriots to spend part of your week, part of your day making Locked On Patriots your first listen and also a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. And now that you've made us your first listen, please make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On Sports Today. all of the news that you need in all of the major sports, analysis, breakdown, game recaps, and of course, the take of the day. Locked On Sports Today is available on all platforms, including YouTube and the Odyssey app. So please be sure to download and subscribe accordingly. And as always, make sure to smash that subscribe button to YouTube and download Locked On Patriots wherever you get your audio podcasts. On behalf of my good friend Tanya Ray Fox of FS1, I'm Mike Debate. Continue to stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the game on Sunday.